Christian greetings to all of those who are viewing us. We want to thank God who has protected us and sustained us. It has been some time when we last meet and we heard from the word of God from above. But still more, God has been on our side and has brought us together again. We thank Him for what He's doing in your life, wherever you are. In whatever country or continent you are in, we believe God is moving one more time in your life and in the life of the church you fellowship to. In this church, this is the season of talking about parenting. We have been talking about parenting. The whole month of June has been a month of talking about parenting. And today, I want to talk about raising up children in the digital generation. Raising up children in the digital generation. We are in the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 2 to 3. The Bible says like this: Hear, all heavens, listen, all earth, for the Lord has spoken. I reared children and brought them up, but they have rebelled against me. The ox knows his master, the donkey his owner's manger, but Israel does not know. My people do not understand. We are seeing a scenario which comes to all of us. God is complaining. He reared children and they rebelled against Him. In many of our families, we see that there is always the black sheep. There will always be a child who will do what? Who will move outside the will of the parents, or who doesn't resemble the character of others in the family. There is a case which I want to share with you. There was an old man who had come from the village and he wanted to visit his son in Kampala. And his son was staying in Kololo, where the zealous, I'm talking about if you're above wealthy and now you reach the W, the next letter is Z. Instead of wealthy, he was zealous. He had all where the zealous live, the rich among the richest, they stay in Kololo. And so when this man went into the home, he was very tired. And then he was met by the grandson that was watching television and was playing, I think, a game. And so the old man, when he entered the house, he took off his shoes. And he thought might be the son was coming to hug him or to greet him. But he went and got a spray. So that because the shoes of the old man were smelling, and he came and sprayed his feet because the odor which was coming from his feet was disturbing the young man. And then he greeted the boy and said, I'm fine. And the old man thought might be, the grandson might be hospitable. Unless he said, can you give me a glass of water to quench my thirst? But the grandson rudely informed the grandfather that is not my job. Go to the kitchen and ask the maid. And that is what broke everything, the backbone of this man. He remembered what he had done, how he had trained his child, how they had suffered in the village, how he had educated him and sold everything so that he could become what he became. But the grandson didn't have those values and morals and didn't value him, that he was the one who was the backbone to the wealth and the riches he was enjoying. Many parents are disappointed with their offsprings. You as a parent might be, you have been embarrassed, disappointed, ashamed, disgusted by your child's behavior in public or in private. You are not alone. Even when we go back to the text, we see God is in a similar dilemma. He calls heavens and earth to witness this abnormality, that I reared children and brought them up, but they have rebelled against me. We don't need to forget that God is the best parent that exists. But still more, he found challenges with Israel, his firstborn. And so, do not blame yourself so much. We produce bodies, but the souls belong to God. But we need to understand that all of us, we desire to bring our children to become the best in society, so that they can touch society, they can change society. So what can we do in order to avoid regret? Fellow son, I was reflecting on that, and I said, what should this generation do? Because the children who are born in this generation, they have so many challenges. There is a lot of luxuries. There is a lot of wealth. Drugs are everywhere. They are rampant. Morals have degenerated. Families are breaking apart. You name it, it is there. And one day you wake up and you find your child is a mess. So what should we do, we as parents, to raise up children in the digital generation? Remember, for us, we grew up in the analog generation, where we respected our parents, where we obeyed our parents, where we could be caned and nobody will report you to the police, where it took the whole village to raise up a child, but now it is individuality. What can you do? Let me give you 3 things you can do to help you. I'm talking purposely to a Christian. The first thing is do this. You as a Christian, it is your duty to teach and train your child to fear God. Introduce your child to the faith you live in, you believe in. Introduce your child to Christian living. And that's what God told Israel. God told the children of Israel in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 4, we see the most quoted, this is one of the most quoted portions in the entire Bible. He said, verse 4, he said, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be upon your hearts." They are to be upon your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, and when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands, and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates. That's what God told the children of Israel, that you need to pass on the baton, but it is progressive and transitional. And so what you need to do is to introduce your children to what you believe in. Teach them, but you need to be examples. He told them, fear the Lord. You need to fear the Lord and love him with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. It is your duty to do that. And this is the most quoted portion in the Bible. They call it Shema. The Orthodox Jews, they recite it every morning and in evening with their children. But most of us, we go to church and we leave our children. I remember when my children were growing up, my daughter, I used to wake up and pray, and then she would also wake up and sit on the mat where I was, and I pray for 1 hour and plus. And when we finish, we go and have breakfast together. At first, she used to cry and thought I would do anything. I didn't. I continued to pray, and she learned the discipline. That when dad is on the mat, we first pray and then we go and take breakfast. And I'm not disappointed. And you won't be disappointed if you introduce your child to the God you believe in. The second thing you need to do is one, take charge of your home. The Bible tells us in Ephesians chapter 5 verse 23 that you are the head, as Christ is the head of the church. You as the head take charge. You need to know what you must do as the head of the home. But now we have abandoned our responsibility as men, as husbands, as fathers, and delegated it to the women to do the work for us. In East Africa, there is a very sad story of a man who worked so much and started a big bus company. It used to go to the 3 East African companies. I won't say the bus company. But the time came when the man passed on and he had only 2 sons. And the eldest took over. But the saddest point was one, he was the eldest. But he was the poorest when it came to keeping finances. He liked betting. He started betting at his young age. And the father didn't respond because he didn't take charge of his home. He took charge of the company. The company grew from one nation to another nation to another nation. The company was very efficient, very powerful. It employed thousands and thousands of workers. And he could manage very well the company. But he was a poor manager when it came to his home. It is not enough to accommodate and feed and dress your children. But you need to skill your children so that they can survive during their generation when you are not around. Give them the survival skills. Do not pamper your child. Discipline your child as you prepare him or her to live independent of you. They should be able to survive. They should be able to continue when you are not around, so that they can realize their created purpose in the plan of God. And lastly, you need to understand we must be willing to pay the price by praying for your family. Pray for your children every day. It is a life of sacrifice. Your child might get lost, but pray for him. I remember a certain evangelist, powerful evangelist in America. He had 2 sons. One of the sons shot himself during during school days, because kids used to mock him the way his father was conducting up his ministry. Shot himself. And the other one also became cantankerous. He left his father's campus and went to another university. He didn't say, I'm not going to study in that university. And as he went, before he left, that young man, he went to his father and mother and told them, Dad, I'm not going to study in your university. I'm moving away. And the father said, yes, you may go. But I and your mother, we are going to pray for you. And that's what they did. It was not long before he came back. Pray and pray and pray for your child. Remember, you're a parent for life. Don't cease until you go to the grave. Continue to pray for the next generation. Pray for your child. Pray for your children. Pray for your grandchildren. Pray for the next generation, because that's why God has made you a parent. Parenting involves also praying. Remember, the moment you become a parent, You enter into partnership with God and partnership with the state. God demands that soul, wants to see that soul on the last day. He's making you a custodian of his souls. And the state expects the same thing, to raise up good citizens. Remember, the home is the foundation of a good community, a good country. Every country, the people in the country are always a reflection of the homes they have grown in. May God bless you as we raise up the next generation in this digital generation, which is very challenging, demanding, and unpredictable. God bless you in Jesus' name.